Hello again. At this point, we have identified a problem in the community. We have studied that problem, conducted a needs assessment, so we understand what the problem is, what is causing it, and what the needs are in our community related to that problem. We also established our goals and objectives, statements of where we want to be in relationship with that problem. We've found an intervention, it's hopefully an evidence-based practice that we want to put as a solution to that problem that will take us to our goals and objectives. And we have put it all together in a plan that includes logic models that explain the logic of the theory of the program, of why we need the program, and an outcomes logic model that explains how we are going to translate resources into outcomes. Now it's time to implement the program. But before we do that, we have to do two more things. We need to study the program fit, like assess how the program fits in the community, and two, assess if we have enough resources to implement the program. In this video, we talk about program fit. So program fit is the degree to which a selected intervention fits within the agency and the community context, right? In other words, program fit refers to the degree to which the program aligns with the values and practices of the community, the characteristics of the community in terms of age, gender, ethnicity, language, whether it's rural or urban, the level of need, etc. The degree to which the program aligns with the philosophical mission of the agency, the culture of the target population, the community readiness in general. Are they ready? Are they ready at that stage of readiness where they will accept a program like this? And also, does the program fit with the priorities of the key stakeholders in the community? Finally, we have to think about how our program fits with other programs already established in the community. We need to make sure that we think about fit because we have to make sure that the program is consistent with the mission of the agency. We have to make sure that the intervention matches the needs and characteristics of the target population. We have to make sure that our program is not competing with other programs around. We have to make sure that we're not duplicating services, right? We have to make sure that the community will support the program so that we will get enough resources to implement it and we will get enough participation in the program and that the program will survive, right? If we don't think about fit, our program probably is not going to be effective and we're probably not even going to be able to implement it. So assessing the fit of a program is a key step in program planning that we need to do before we implement. So how do we assess program fit? There's 4 areas that we need to assess, right? The first, we need to know if the community is ready for the program, right? If the community's culture fits with the program, or the program fits with the community culture, I should say. 2, we need to assess if the target population, right? If the program fits the target population's needs and characteristics, right? We need to assess the fit with other programs. How does our program fit with other existing programs in the community? Is it competing or is it complementing them? And finally, we need to assess how the program fits in our own agency. Some agencies run different programs, so we need to see and assess how our particular program will fit with the rest of the programs in the agency and with the agency's culture in general. But let's go over each of them. So the first one is assessing the fit in the community. So for this, we need to think about the culture of the community in general, right? What is this community? What defines this community? Is it urban, rural? Um, what are the values of this community in terms of the problem that we have at hand, right? And for this, we conduct a cultural analysis and we conduct a community readiness analysis as part of that. Now, to conduct a community readiness analysis, Camper, Whiteside, and Wondersman created an interesting model of community readiness. Um, and they wrote a book called Community Readiness for Drug Abuse Prevention: Issues, Tips, and Tools, and it was published by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, right? The NIH, and specifically the National Institute on Drug Abuse. So the model they propose, it divides the community into 9 stages of readiness, right? A community can be at a stage 1 where there is no awareness of the problem, right? They don't see any problem, right? They don't understand. They don't even know that the condition exists, right? This is the lowest level of community readiness. At that point, of course, you cannot implement a program if nobody knows even about the problem it's supposed to solve. The second stage is denial, right? The community may know about the problem, but they don't see it happening in their community, right? It's not happening here. We can't do anything about it. That's the denial stage. The third one is vague awareness. Maybe they know about it, they think it's possible, but they don't see it as an issue in the community. Then the stage 4 is pre-planning, where the leaders are aware and there's some motivation, but it's not really there, right? If the community is in no awareness, in denial, or in vague awareness, or in pre-planning, you can't really implement the program at that stage, right? You first need to, the community is not aware already yet. You first need to mobilize it. You have to create motivation, engage with the community and convince them that there is a problem here. That's where your problem model comes, where you will talk about the problem, quantify it, and you'll talk about the contributing factors and the consequences of that problem, right? So you have to convince them, the community, in order to go in and implement your program. The fifth stage is preparation. And in this stage, the community knows about the problem, they are motivated, and there's an active and energetic leadership and decision making. So this is where leaders in the community want to do something about the problem. The sixth stage is initiation, when they are actually studying the problem, and they are really committed to it, and it's become a big issue in the communities, and they have a lot of energy around it. So at these 2 stages, you can work together, develop plans for prevention, right, or any type of program through coalitions and community groups, and identify and implement research-based programs. This is the best stage to create a new program, or to propose a program plan in the preparation of or initiation. When the community knows there is a problem, they want to do something about it, and there is, you come there with your plan to save the day, if you will. So 5 and 6. In the 7th stage, stabilization, the community, there's already programs in place, and the community is supporting them, right? And they're starting to evaluate the effectiveness of that program. Then in stage 8, they confirm that these programs are working, they are needed, and there is probably the decision of expanding them. Now here, the idea is probably not propose an entire new program, but think about ways to expand services of these programs. Existing programs are going to expand. And as a planner, you know that at this stage, if the community is there and there are already existing programs and they like them, maybe you want to think about expanding them. And the final stage of readiness, this is professionalization. When the community is very knowledgeable about the problem, they expect effective solutions, and they already have programs in place, and they are only willing to accept things that have worked in the community, or they already have things that are already working there, right? So You have to assess what stage in this readiness as community readiness scale your community is in, to think about how you are going to sell your program. If you're in the first four stages, it'll be really hard. If you're in the fifth and sixth stages, that's the ideal time to sell your program idea. If you're in seven, eight, or nine, you probably want to think about expanding existing programs as opposed to creating new ones. Anyway, this is a very, very useful tool that you should get familiar with. After you've assessed your community, the second stage is to assess the fit with the particular target population. These are the individuals who are going to receive your services, right? And you have to think about how suitable is this intervention that I chose for this target audience, right? Or is there another intervention that would fit better, or what we can do to tweak it so that we can make that fit perfect for our target population, right? Many programs were created in urban settings, and if we're trying to implement them in rural settings, we're going to have to change them. Or if they were created, let's say, in English, and we need to implement it for a community that has English as a second language, then we may have to change that. We have to make the intervention fit perfectly to the target population needs. And we are assessing what we have and what our community really will take. What would be that fit, right? Sometimes it'll be too costly to make the changes. And then we will have to think about an entire different idea. So we need to think about this before we go implementing. The third aspect of assessing fit is thinking about how your program fits with other programs out there. This is the political aspect of program planning. You are not going to be operating on a vacuum, right? There's other programs out there that do similar things, or that do things that may be related to what you are proposing. So you have to think um, about whether similar programs exist for the population you want to serve, and think about how your program is different. Right? Will it serve new needs for that community? Will it serve different people that was not served by the other programs? But you have to think about other programs out there. You do not want to be in a situation where you propose a plan and you are competing with existing programs out there, because existing programs out there are going to view your program as a threat and try to undermine its implementation. The last area of this assessment of fit is thinking about how your program fits with other programs in the agency. You may be working for an existing agency, either a government or nonprofit agency, and you are thinking about implementing a program, but these agencies may be implementing other programs. So you have to think about how this idea for your program fits with the board members, if it's a nonprofit, or the elected members, if it's a government agency, or funders and volunteers. How do they feel about this idea? Would they see this program as a threat to their goals and ideas? Right? That would be the worst case scenario, because you won't get very far if they do. You also have to think about how your program complements other programs in the agency, right? Or if you need to tweak anything in your program to make it a complement to other programs. If they see you as a threat to other programs in the agency, you're not going to get very far. So you have to think about how your program fits in the agency. Now, this is not very easy, because when we're planning something and we get excited about an idea and committed to solving the problem, we tend to downplay these potential threats out there. And we tend to think that the world is going to see are going to see the world as we see it, right? And they're going to buy into our solution because we're so convinced of it. But that may not be the case. So you have to think very hard about how your program really fits the community as a whole. If the community is ready for that, really be realistic about where the community is in relationship to that problem. You have to think about how your program really fits the target population that you want to serve, how your program fits with other programs that are already established, and how your program fits with other programs in the agency, right? If your program doesn't fit in the community, with the target population, with other programs in the community, or with other programs in your agency, you're going to have a very, very difficult time implementing the program. So it's very, very useful to think about these things very hard before you go in and jump in the pool. You may think that your program is perfect, and it might be in your eyes, but maybe not on the eyes of the community. So now, if they're not ready for your program or they don't want your program, it's gonna be very, very hard for you to get resources to implement your program. But we're going to talk about resources in the next video. Thank you for watching.